Hiya, welcome back to the channel. Gonna do something quite basic today. Basically the C1, it's been good, so we're gonna treat it. We're gonna treat it to an oil change. Now, this is the oil I'm gonna use. I did an oil change on it about, I don't know, 5,000 miles ago or something, with the wrong oil, but I just left it in. Now this is C2 rated 530s, which is more the stuff that's rated for it, and it says that it's for Peugeot and Citroen. Now this is a Citroen, see there, Citroen, but it's more, well, Toyota Isuzu engine, I think, something like Toyota or Isuzu, one of the two, obviously, because if it were a Citroen engine it'd be dead by now, wouldn't it? Anyway, so I'm going to give it a good oil flush. I'm going to try out using diesel as an oil flush and see how good that is, but before that I'm going to blow the tyres up. Well, first thing we need to do is park next to a compressor, and then we'll remove all of our dust caps, which they're a bit awkward to get off because of that, but take them all off before you start. So, unlading this car is 32 psi front and rear. So once all your dust caps are off, then you set the pressure, and then you insert your card, which you can. Then once you've done that, it's set to the right pressure, and we just do this on each tyre. I'll tell you what's in it. So that's low. And then when it beeps, you move on to the next tyre. And you just do this for all of them until they've all beeped. Then when you've done that side, you need to carefully bring the hose across the side of the car to the other side, and then do the same. And that's all there is to it. Now you've got to put your dust caps back on. And then once you've refitted, then you're good to go. Now it seems like a little bit self-explanatory that I'm doing a video, or adding to a video how to blow tyres up, but it is something that I've seen asked, so I don't know, it might be useful to someone. Probably won't be, but it might be. Yes. Right, so on we're changing the oil. Before we start, oh actually, I'm going to explain where that came from. So this is quite impressive. Right, I've just come to my car, and it is locked, so it's still locked, the other door's locked, right? So we'll unlock it and go inside, and somebody's broke into my car, put that in it, and then locked the car after him. That I am very pleased with, and I'm going to leave it there and hopefully it'll bounce around in my face when I'm driving. It even moves around in a realistic yet ultimately distracting manner when driving. Yes. So unfortunately it actually fell off. A while ago I fitted some new speakers. I mean, they're under the nice proper pumping speakers, and I turned the radio up and the bass line just blew it off. So I've now applied it in a suitable location. Right, so now you know that important fact, we'll get on with changing the oil again. First, we need to give this a tug and open bonnet. And then we reveal the 1KR powerhouse. Right, so before we start, I'm gonna see how dirty this oil is, because I'm gonna try an engine flush, but I'm not gonna do what I did last time and take all this shit off. I'm just gonna put it in, see how dirty the oil is before it, and then see if it makes the oil more dirty, and compare it to see if it's done anything. This oil won't, or shouldn't be that dirty, because it's only been in for about 5,000 miles or so. But I tend to over change oil, if anything, on my stuff, because, well, new oil's better than old oil, and I get some sort of sexual gratification from putting clean oil in stuff, which I think is a condition. But yeah, let's see how clean that is when we wipe it on a rag. Right, so this is before it's been flushed. And it's not too bad. Right, so let's crack on. We'll put this back in. Dip our dipstick, always fun. Now this car is nice because it doesn't have any stupid belly pans in the way. And there is our oil filter, nice and accessible. Before I put the oil flush in though, I need to make sure I can undo that, because I ain't got any tools to undo it, so I'm just going to do it by hand, which you usually can do. Which Dick put that on, that's tight. Might need to use my right hand, but I need to crack that off before I do anything else to make sure I can actually take it off without any tools. So, now that this is loose, I'm going to tighten it back up. But at least now we know we can undo it. So now, we need to get our tools for our sump plug. So our sump plug is 14mm. And now we're ready for that. Now we can put our flush in. So this is the engine product, or the engine flush, that we're going to be trying. And it's not Fanta, like the bottle that it's in. It's actually just diesel. So about, I don't know, a third of a litre of diesel, which I'm going to throw into there. So first, I need to remove this, which, well, it's not going to go in without removing that, is it? Now we need to remove this. So this is our diesel, going in there. Now there are proper engine flushes which you can buy for doing this, rather than fucking about with bits of diesel and stuff. But, well, I'm using diesel. So now this is where we're probably past the point of no return. So let's put our lid on and let's start it for a bit. And then, after 10 minutes or so, we'll see if it starts making any weird noises, or if the oil looks dirtier. If the oil looks dirtier, then it means it's cleaning stuff, and that's what we're looking for. Probably not going to be any noticeable difference, but we're going to do it anyway most of the time. Right, it's still going. So in my last video, I mentioned that this happened, where someone's peeled off bits of my logo, and while stood around waiting for this to warm up, I've actually found evidence as to where the crime took place, which is where I sometimes park my car. There's bits of sticker like there and down there. But what I didn't notice last time is that they also did this, which I'm quite pleased with that actually, because it's a more accurate depiction of what's actually, well, of what's actually going on. But this, I'm going to have to amend somehow. I haven't decided how yet, but we'll sort that out. So anyway, this has been running for a few minutes now. I don't know how long, 15-20 minutes. It's time to stop fucking about and get on with it. So let's turn it off. And we'll, well, let's do a dip test. Right, so this is the colour of it on the dipstick now. So, is that any darker? Hard to tell, I suppose. This is the two. This one's before, and this one's after the flush. So it does seem to have done something. It does seem to have made it, well, it does seem to have collected a bit of dirt, to be honest with you. Anyway, let's get it out and put some new stuff in. So because just parking over a grid and dropping the sump plug is frowned upon, you need to prepare some kind of oil catch reservoir for when you drain your oil. So I've got this professional one which I purchased from a local car spares shop, but anything that holds enough oil should do. So we're just going to put that under. First we'll take the oil filter off. So there's our oil filter directly above, and we're going to get some oil on us more than likely. Right, so once we've cracked it off, just let it drain first, and well, you're going to get it on you, so you might as well just get it on you. And then there's some rust prevention there going on as well. And the fact we've jizzed oil all over our hand, we can use to our advantage, because we need to put some on here. So you can caress this lovingly. And then we can put some on there, you see. Now, the reason why this helps it to seal is because you're lubricating this seal, which means that you can tighten it up further without the seal all stretching and squashing up and fucking up. So when you put a bit of oil around here, it just, well, tightens up nicer. So once that's finished dripping, I mean, you can wait until you've drained the oil out of the car to do this, or it shouldn't really make much difference because the filter is higher than the sump. But I'm going to put it on now. And you don't have to go mad with this, you just do it as tight as you can by hand pretty much. So that's our oil filter on. And now it's time to drain the oil, which you can't really see from here, but it's a 14 milli, and from the front of the car, it's there. So crack it off, then you can do it by hand. You want to put this underneath it before you do. You're probably going to get some oil all over you again. All part of the fun. At least your hands won't rust. And leave that to drain. Now this is our sump plug, as you can probably tell, and I would normally recommend changing this copper washer, but I ain't got one and I changed it last time, so you can usually get a couple of goes out of them if you're careful, but you are supposed to change it every time, but I'm not going to do that. So now we're going to wait for the oil to stop draining, which it pretty much has, and then we are going to just put a little bit through, because then we can clean out just a little bit of residue that's in the bottom of the sump. Now I don't know if I mentioned this, but that'll do, otherwise I won't have enough to fill it up. This oil, which I'm using, was pretty cheap, so it's not really that wasting exactly an amount of oil, an amount of money's worth of oil. But it's just something I like to do because I'm a bit weird. And now, even though that's new oil, it's still got some dirt in it. So we'll wait for that to stop, we'll put that shitter back in, and then we'll fill it up, and then we're good to go. So now we can see that that's pretty much stopped and it's coming through clean, so we can put our sump plug back in without dropping it in the oil. Can't find the oil, there we go. Dropped it in the oil, fucking mint. So now it's time to go fishing. Oh, that's full. At least it's nice and warm. There we go, found it. Oh, I dropped it again. This isn't the most efficient way of doing this job, but needs must. There we go. So now there's more oil on the outside of the sump than there is on the inside of the sump. So we'll tighten that in and then we'll nip it up. Nice. Now the sump plug's finger tight and I've made sure that the copper washer's still on. So now we can pull this out without spilling it everywhere. So there's our old oil, there's the rest of our old oil. And we can put this lid on just to stop it splashing out everywhere. And this is to prove that even though this video is a real back to basics, simple video, you can still fuck up. So a quick wash of my hands, half a bottle of washing up liquid later. And now it's time for the last time that I'm lying on this wet floor. I'm going to nip this up. Now there will be a torque setting for this, but I don't know it, and I ain't got a torque wrench on me, so I'll just do it until it feels right. And now all that's left is to fill it up. Yes. Right, so I've probably put about 3 litres in so far, maybe a bit more, so we'll give it a dip. See where it's up to, see if there's enough to run it. And then once you've got enough in it, It's a bit clean to see, but it is near the top. So let's run it. Put our lid back on first there. So give it a quick run. Wait for the oil light to go out when the filter's full. Should really look underneath to make sure it's not leaking, but that means going down on cold floor again, and I can't bother with that. So now oil's circulated. Turn it off. Wait a couple of minutes and dip it again and top it up. That's it. Now, if there is such a thing as oil being too clean, then it'll be something like this, because it's a struggle to see where it is. It seems to be, I'd say, about halfway up on the dipstick. So I'll throw another ½ litre in it, and that should be alright. So last dip after topping it up, see where it's at, or try and see where it's at. And it seems to be about right. Near the top mark is where I put it. So yeah, oil change, nice and clean, shiny and new. Happy days. So there we are, all nice and fresh, and now it's time to carefully close the bonnet. There we go. Job done.